So what happens then is that the young men, they'll compete with each other for the girls or for the women. But unless someone teaches them, no, there's much more to them, it can be soft. You can love each other. You can bond with each other. You can be companions, the young men with each other. And yes, indeed, the women can be there, but they also need to be respected in a very real, classic way.
Hello, Anaghan.
Yeah. Nice.
Beautiful.
Good to see you.
See it? The good old 3 breaths.
Yeah, 3 good breaths.
Yeah. Maybe
Hi,
I
Edgar.
do it without my glasses, so they're not gonna fuck up.
There you go.
Hello, Anaghan.
Well, in thinking about being interviewed by you, to me it was an honor.
I'm happy that it finally worked out. So we're here in Amrita Puri at Amma's ashram in Kerala with the wonderful, sensitive, and beautiful man Anaghan, who I really appreciate and admire for his openness, for his vulnerability. And we had this very beautiful talk about the men's movement and how he grew up in the 90s in that movement and having had the support from other men. I found that super inspiring, and I invited him to join me for an interview and share with the world, share with all of you beautiful, sensitive men out there, how it is to be vulnerable and how it is to have an open heart and connect from heart to heart.
That's exactly it. And the younger generation. I've gotten conscious as I've gotten older that there's a responsibility that the elders have to be able to pass on what they have to the younger ones. It's very important, and not to pull back and be separated, you know.
So what would you say as an opening sentence, what makes a man?
Being vulnerable, accountable, strong, and soft at the same time, without a doubt. Having a sense of who he is and where he is going, and a sense of himself as a man. And what I want to talk about today, in repeating going into the conversation we spoke of before, is that that often doesn't happen. And there's an entire area of teaching that's missing, which is what's generally referred to as the initiation of men into their manhood. It can happen really at any time. Classically, it always happened when they were young men. So essentially what I have in that realm is what Robert Bly taught. And there were several really nice long weekends with him, and then there was the almost week-long initiation with the new warriors that really moved me. And we would meet once a week for a number of years, a small group of us. And Santa Fe was divided up into several small groups. And I think once every few months, all of us would meet, you know. So it was an ongoing situation where just a few of us would meet once a week.
And that was all in the States?
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
Yes. Yes, in the States. Without doubt.
No, made for the guests
Yeah.
who don't really know about us.
Yeah, there you go.
The quick.
Yeah. So I think I'll start right at the beginning and really parrot what I got from Robert Bly. And indeed, it's been many, many, many years, and I'm very conscious of it's kind of like a paraphrase. What took a long time, not a long time, but like weekends for him to be able to convey to us. But I think it's so important that I was going to say, I think it should be lost. It's not going to get lost, because obviously he is well documented. But at least to be able to reflect on what my own personal take on it was, you know, after all those years, how it sank in. So starting right from the beginning of essentially what he said is it's the uninitiated male that really gets in the way. So every culture, we'll call them intact cultures. They haven't been broken up the way ours has been. the intact cultures, there was always a point where the young men were initiated into their manhood by the older men, by the elders. Very, very, very important. And that's completely missing today. And actually the very beginning weekend with him that I took, was him, meaning Robert Bly, is he said, okay, I think there were maybe 100 men there, maybe a little less. He said, okay, how many of you know young men? And maybe a third of us raised their hands. And he said, okay, how many of you are really close for your young men friends? Maybe half again of that group raised their hands. He said, how many of you have praised your young friend? How many of you have told him how wonderful he is? How many of you have told him you love him? No one raised a hand. He said, you're missing out. You are missing out on something that's so beautiful as an elder male that you could have. So essentially, in an initiation, young men come of age, 13, 14. You still see remnants of that all through the world. You get the bar mitzvah. The Aborigines have it quite clearly. They have maintained their entire initiation of the young men and the elders. So there are various different variations of it, but what it boils down to is it takes an older man to be able to tell a young man what's up, because he's lived through it. You don't get that wisdom unless you actually live it. It takes decades even. That's what makes an elder be an elder and a young man be a young man. So the young men, they become young men. Obviously, they're wonderful. They suddenly grow up. We all know what it was like. It was like almost overnight. Oh my God, look at this thing. It all works. It's all good. It's beautiful. And essentially, there are two things they want to do: fuck or fight. With all those hormones. Yeah. And it's quite obvious. And obviously, any man knows that. The elder men know about it, obviously, too. But there's an entire other side of them that needs to be brought out. That soft side, that loving side, that attentive side, that accountability. And it doesn't happen if they're just left on their own to be able to figure it out for themselves. And it always traditionally would take an older man who was trusted by the father to be able to take a young man under his wing as a mentor. We're missing mentors today. Unless it's in some kind of a professional capacity or schooling or something like that. But it takes the mentor, and I say, who's trusted, generally trusted or known by the father. Doesn't have to be, but it can't be the father. Because if the father is teaching the young man about his manhood, it obviously involves him teaching him about his sexuality. The father is talking about his own mother. It doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work. Instinctively. And this is obviously from thousands of years or hundreds of thousands of years of pretty much intact families. Right. It really has always been kind of the father, the mother, and the children. Even in the great apes, they're always doing that. They're units. And they'll work to protect each other.
So a very important part is the education on the sexuality.
Correct, yeah. But it's all combined. It's not like Sex Ed 101, where the guy sits there and says, well, it goes like this or whatever like that. That can be part of it. But it's more in how to be a loving male, how to be soft. And that takes a while. You can't just sit down and just tell someone that. That's why the mentoring comes into place. Ideally, in a culture, you'd have a mentor. Everyone would know, oh yeah, he's your mentor, or whatever else. So what happens then is, in the complete lack of mentors, and also, unfortunately, in the last 25 or 30 years with the internet, the men essentially learn about sex in the locker room, or even worse, it's on the net. It's all pornography.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely the worst possible way to learn it. Truly, I think I could probably say it here, that the newer generation or generations have to really come to grips with the fact that their idea of sexuality has been destroyed by the internet. I mean, all those hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, there was never a place where they could go and watch everybody have sex. It didn't happen. Whereas now they've got it on their phone or whatever else like that. And every 6-year-old even probably has seen it. Because the older brother, oh, you want to see this? That kind of thing happens.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say about what you just said about that the father has to show you the path to the mentor. It's something very interesting which I've heard from another man talking in Tiruvannamalai, and he was saying there's 3 very important stages when you grow up. So the first stage is you get born and you see your mother. Then, and the first stage is your mother shows you your father. And the second stage is that the father shows you your guru.
Oh, nice.
And then the third stage is that the guru shows you the connection to God.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Beautifully said, yeah. And I've lived my life that way. It's just happened. Although, again, without the father intact, my own father there, it was obvious the guru appeared. 19 years old. Okay, got it. And it was nonstop ever since. And that man was definitely a guru, but did not really take on the role of the personal guru for me. So when I met Alma, it was clear. I was okay. Plus, she was a woman. A huge difference to me. Aha. Beautiful, loving woman. And it eliminated all of the confusion about being a man and men and a father, all that kind of thing. It's quite beautiful. And I think she called me for that reason. But there's a nice explanation of it, So if the father is missing, or the father is missing in order to lead the young man to the guru or the mentor, then that doesn't happen. So what happens then is that the young men continue just to do what they would ordinarily want to do. They'll fucking fight. They'll fight each other. They'll compete with each other for the girls or for the women, or just kind of this natural thing that happens. Both of those are quite natural, the fuck and the fight. But unless someone teaches them, no, there's much more to that. It can be soft. You can love each other. You can bond with each other. You can be companions, the young men with each other. And yes, indeed, the women can be there, but they also need to be respected in a very real, classic way. Not like some stiff church way, like you have to be nice to women, but in some kind of very real way. And the older men know what that is, because they've been through it. Their heart has been broken.
Right.
So the men whose hearts have been broken are really the best ones to heal, especially the young ones whose hearts have been broken. You're also dealing with, in the era that we're in, where there's uninitiated, where the men are uninitiated, the women are also uninitiated. So what happens is that the older women have not taught them how to be firm, how to be more masculine, and to be able to hold their own. And so that the misunderstanding that happens from the women, or from the young women, the girls, is that somehow they are liberated and free if they have as much sex as they want. Whereas it's actually going against what should happen, in terms of that they really don't recognize that I think they have lost that respect. And what happens then is that they prey on the men, and the young men versa versa prey on them. So that what happens is that the young men are only opening up emotionally to the girls. That's all related to sex. So there's this combination that's not good at all. And again, that the older men could be able to mentor them and be able to explain to them and show them that what happens then is that they depend on the women to, I think I'm repeating myself, but they depend on the women to be able to be vulnerable, open, honest, accountable. And it's all tied up with that essential thing if all they really want to do is get her in bed.
Right.
Exactly. So the whole thing gets confused. And what happens then is that the bonding between the young men they hold back because they're competitive against each other. They haven't been taught about that. But they're also afraid then that affection is sexual.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this quite natural thing where you kind of want to push your friends away. And then you get this ridiculous cultural division. What's gay, what's not. Everyone gets afraid, oh, I don't want to be gay, so I'm not going to love my friend. Missing out on a huge amount. Just for the men to simply love each other in the way men can do. I'm talking about the young men. The young men can do it even better. Wonderful. I mean, the world is full of wonderful accounts and just the reality of young men who are good pals and love each other. And even groups of them. How wonderful that is. It should all be like that, but it's not. So what happens with the uninitiated male is he's not initiated into his softer side. I don't like to use the word the feminine side or the masculine side, because the internet, pop psychology has screwed them all up for us.
Right.
We don't even know how to use them, and like the feminine, I go with the bullshit. So again, I'm harking back to the fact that what the present generation or two have been faced with is unprecedented in all of history. There's almost nothing to compare it to. There is nothing to compare it to. And even a basic understanding of what normal or natural sexuality is has been destroyed. It really has. Where they think that sex is what they see on the internet. I like asking them sometimes, what you see on the internet, if you're making love to your girlfriend, does it look like that? Say, no, of course not. Not at all. No. And the same with the pornography with the two men together. That never happens. It just doesn't happen. That's all, either whatever gender is going on. That's all just for sales, for pornography. But yet, uninitiated, they don't know that.
And how would initiation look like, for example?
That's a really good question, I'm not sure what to answer. I think that in Bly's teaching, he kept looking back at history and how that had been structured into cultures. So in the absence of that as teenagers, in the absence of a mentor, any man of any age can be able to learn about themselves and learn to open up and learn to trust. And so that's exactly what the new warriors would do. We'd spend this long weekend together and get to know each other within each area. Mine was wonderful in New Mexico. We were way up in the mountains in an old Boy Scout camp. Really good. Spending that weekend together and just learning how to trust, learning how to be open, and then continuing with those small groups, being accountable. That's probably one of the most important things. Accountability is lost in there because if you're not trusting your friend, you don't have to be accountable. We'll see it over and over again. We've all seen it. It's like maybe there's some conflict with a guy, your friend. It's like, well, you don't have to really work it out. If it was your girlfriend, you'd really have to work it out. Come on, let's talk about this. Can I share? Can I tell you the truth? Can we be real? Of course. But you don't do that with men. Once you've gotten past that age and you've learned, you don't really have to be accountable with fellow men or really tell the truth. I'm exaggerating to try and make the points here, but they're very important points. Happens all the time. Just if you think about it with men, often it's, oh, all right, that's okay. You wouldn't be able to do that with a woman.
Right.
You can't just say, well, it's okay, whatever. She'd eat you alive, probably,
Yeah.
But to be able to be real and genuine and open with other men is what's missing from that formula of the uninitiated men. But indeed, the knowledge can be there. The bonding can be gained. It really can. We can actually learn how to love each other in a phenomenal way and not be afraid. It just takes some training. It just takes practice. It takes knowledge. That's what those men's groups do. You get used to the same people and you get used to being accountable. Yeah, it's good, you know. And also physical. To be able to hug each other comfortably and not, again, have it project into that it's unwanted or it's sexual.
Right.
India is a phenomenal place for that.
Yeah, where they just hug each other on the street or they just walk holding hands, and it's just very normal here, right?
All the time. And just today, I watched the guys down at the construction over there in the front of the temple with their hard hats, their yellow hard hats, and they were having a meeting. And there were probably 5 or 6 of the yellow hard hat guys. They were listening to the supervisor, and 2 or 3 of them were holding hands. Can you imagine on a construction site in New York City, whatever?
Yeah.
The guys are just holding hands. They were just totally comfortable,
Wow.
just like hanging out. Just they were taken for granted, and you can see that. And the best explanation is they have not sexualized affection. They see it as affection, period, and enjoy it. I think my life probably would have been very, very different if I'd just been able to put my arm around my pals and just talk. You know, it's always like, you know, you've seen it, you've felt it. You know,
Yeah.
people touch and you know, oh, sorry, whatever. Just that kind of thing in there. It's so unnatural. And the posturing we've learned. Got to walk like men and act like men. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. This is best taught. And also leads me to the other concept. I was just going to say, men should cry with each other. Other one I loved from Bly was the fact, or the feeling and the understanding that only men can heal each other in certain ways.
Right.
Really a beautiful understanding, especially the heartbreak, as she breaks your heart. The classic is you find some other woman and pour your heart out how it was done. No, she doesn't know. Not that she doesn't care. She doesn't know. She's not a man. Another man can know exactly what happened and be able to hold you, and you can cry on his shoulder. It's a magic. It's a genuine healing that takes place when that happens. Essentially, we can learn how to do it.
Often I found though that men, they're very goal oriented. So there's also this concept of the way even in NVC, in nonviolent communication,
Yeah.
that when men, when they talk about a conflict, they talk about feelings and then their needs and then the resolution. But the goal is always to find the resolution as quick as possible.
Gotcha.
Whereas for women, it's more about sharing about the feelings. The sharing aspect is the most important. So the bond between the emotions.
Right.
And-
Beautifully said.
And this is somehow where I'm also exploring what you just said about accountability. So when men learn how to be accountable with the words or with the feelings,
Anything, really.
if they just learn to be accountable, right?
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of men will take this accountability to, okay, I just say how I feel, but we resolve it, right? So it's fine. Yes, it's fine. Fine. Yeah, good.
Yes.
And I think
Well
maybe
said.
this is...
Well said. I've heard that in relationship to NVC also. You know, that men want the outcome and the women want the journey. There's a better word than the journey, the process.
Yeah, and the heart-to-heart connection, I think. That's what I found. Often that's why I got along very well with women, exactly for that reason, because for them it's more about... I remember I had this beautiful round here in the ashram. It was just all women and me. And we were just sharing about feelings. And I thought, wow, this is so beautiful. And this is so natural amongst women.
Yes. And again, I would say inevitably that a mentor and the elders would be able to teach the men that
Right.
and have them understand that's what the women are doing. That's a good example of what a mentor could do. Listen, kid, this is how women work. In depth, no one does that. They only learn about it in the locker room and it's all wrong.
Yeah, to impress each other, like, yeah, I just
Compete.
this girl and yeah.
It's terrible. And so that's missing almost entirely in the world. Only by chance do people have the uncle or the friend
Yeah.
who will instruct them.
I mean, I found nowadays, especially in my generation, that it's coming more and more up. But I found it started to come up more for me when I started to talk about it. When I was the one saying, look, I have a heartache. I struggle about this breakup. I feel sad. But often, very, very often, men give me straight away advice.
They straight away what?
They give me straight away advice.
Ah.
Well, but do you like it? So is this how you want to be treated? So what do you want? How do you want it? And all these things. But it's more like trying to find a solution as quick as possible.
I see.
Whereas when I share with women, it's again more like, oh, okay, so how do you feel about that? And they're more willing and more open towards it, to hear about your emotions. And this is somehow also one of my theories, that because they have trained themselves to have these conversations, they don't feel uncomfortable when you talk about sadness, when you talk about anxiety, when you talk about heartache. They felt it and they can relate to you from heart to heart and have sympathy towards that.
Right.
Whereas a lot of men, if they hear it, they're like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't talk about that, so let me give you a quick solution. So this is
Good view. And that's, I think, what we're talking about. That can be learned, how to share like that. And indeed, the kind of Freudian terminology is that's the man's soft or feminine side. You know, and again, as I was saying, I didn't like the terminology because it gets in the way, but it can be used within this context, the feminine side, which means to use that beautiful part that the women have. It's fascinating stuff. It really is. And in some ways, it is heartbreaking within itself. Oh my God, what did we lose? Without a doubt.
The question is, though, did we really lose it, or is this a temporary adjustment? Because if you think about it, this whole age where last 100 years, there's been so much technological advancement, and so man really had to be out there doing things like reconstructing cities after world wars, and this whole conquering game was going on. So
Right.
for I don't know how many hundreds of years, we've been really into progress. So we lost the ability to really connect. And with the whole internet and since the corona lockdown, we were like, oh wow, yes, we have to connect again because we want that.
Yeah.
And now maybe the era comes where we have to swing on the other pendulum. That's why we have maybe these conversations, because the time is right. The time is right for man to come and be like, okay, how can we bring the worldly balance, the worldly energy into balance again?
Yeah, yeah. And it's always there. It will be there. It's right in our DNA. You know, the same forces that make us be men, they're not going to go away. You know,
Yeah.
like you say, it's a, let's say temporary kind of different shift or whatever else like that. One thing though, check it out. Two of us are talking about it. No, you're using what you know with the technology. You can do what you do with these interviews. You can spread that light. You're already part of the solution. You know, it's really beautiful. I mean, you're reaching, who knows how many people you may reach. It's a phenomenal thing. And with the good technology, I've noticed you set up, very careful setting up, very careful camera, whatever. It's good. So yes, indeed, we can reverse it. Not reverse it, we can move forward. I like that. We can just move forward. We've got it all in there. We've got that softness. It's a really nice way to view it. I like that. Rather than focus on, oh, we've lost all that. No, we don't have it. For sure we don't have it. And I think it's really good to recognize what we don't have in order to be able to figure out how to move forward. I think that's what I did like a lot about that men's movement. We would meet regularly all the time. And then once a year we'd have one of those weekends. And you could see the progress. You see it happening here. But it's slow. Everything is slow. But whatever's natural, it has a natural pace.
Where do we rush to? Where all this hurry?
Well, so lead an okay life, lead a better life. That's a hurry. We can hurry to that. That's okay. Ultimately, we're hurrying towards God. Without a doubt, you know, because that is the underlying structure. And ultimately that does. It leads to a depth of spirituality. You know? And within that spirituality, I think this is cool. I've never quite made that connection to we're talking now, but men will have a way of expressing God, and women will have a way of expressing God. And indeed, they're both expressing God. But to me, not to me, but there is a reality of respect for each other, that we're always going to be a man and we're always going to be a woman. The woman's going to be a woman, the man's going to be a man. And there's this kind of misunderstanding within sort of newer psychology, is that, well, we're really all one. And she and I are going to merge together till we're like one soul. So, yeah, you will on the soul level. But anything beyond that, she's always going to be a woman. And if that's understood, then it's loved and respected. And you're always going to be a man. You're going to express God. You're going to express that deep spirituality the way you do. And she's going to express it the way she is. And if there's that understanding of the respect, then it's also going to work a lot better. And that's a lot of what I get in the knowledge in India. It's those deeper, long, I mean, this stuff goes back, whatever, thousands of years. That's why I live here. That's why I love it here. These are the ancient teachings, and they've been tried and true. They weren't put into a book and just codified. They have been in more recent times, but it was always an oral tradition of mentorship or guruship. It took the actual direct learning. And always, usually, the gurukulas, the schools where the guru was at the head, it's all men. It's all boys. All the boys are spending years together under the mentorship of the guru and his swamis. All the men there would mentor them. Same way with the, what are they, like the samurais?
Right, yeah.
Always, all the young men were up there together. Up there meaning, usually they were in mountains. And they were away from everybody. And they were also away from the women during the very formative years, and that was okay. You know, the cultural realities worked with that. Again, that's a lot of what we've lost. So we've lost so much. It's hard to even figure out what the hell we lost. You know, it's just when it's gone, it's gone. But we're still here.
Still in our DNA.
Yeah, we're gonna still feel.
It's a little bit what a friend of mine said. You can have an ecstatic dance with only women. It will go well. But you will never have an ecstatic dance with only men.
God dang.
The men go to the ecstatic dance for the women.
Fascinating.
And women go there to express themselves.
It's beautifully said. Yeah. I think it's very easy for the men to learn how to dance with each other, though. I really do. We work quite well. Yeah. I've seen that a lot in my own life. Just you can push that envelope and actually have a love that's quite amazing, you know. But the understanding that it still is two men, and there's a certain type of love that they have.
Right.
And that used to happen a lot in all those schools and things. Also physically, classically, they always looked at each other and admired each other. They don't have that kind of locker room craze where like, so I think what the word gymnasium means. Do you know what that is? The word gymnos, the Greek word means naked. Gymnasium is where everyone was naked.
Ah, okay.
What could be more different than what we do now? You know, and the men would be there. You always had to be naked in the gymnasium, and they would do the sports, and they'd admire each other. You're looking good, Jimmy. Look beautiful when you do that pole vault. Think of what that would do.
Yeah.
Really, it's very subtle.
Yeah.
But very real, you know, and that they would feel more comfortable about themselves as men than as they grew up. Yeah, they're admired, they're liked by the men. That's so important, and you don't get that today.
Yeah.
Again, I'm making exaggerations to be able to make the point.
Yeah.
But it's worth making. But the only way that men can bond is through the sports, which is okay for what it is, but in general it's bullshit. You know, you get the captain of the soccer team is the only one people think of as the real men, the football team, all that kind of stuff. Then it's quite silly. That's good. You'll hear that on there. We don't have to talk over that. Won't be edited out.
This is advertising here in India. They drive around with these trucks. I think this is this now for? I know that they have vegetables and stuff, but they
This
sell
is
like
some kind of advertising.
okay, yeah.
Any, go ahead.
Yep.
You wonder what are they hearing? 5 words as the thing drives by.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And I'll say from my side, I'm taking that in. It's also a two-way street. You pull it out of me, without a doubt. That's what I mean by a two-way street. That's we're both doing that. So that's why it's working. That's how it works. Immediately, I recognize you in the ashram. Oh, I know him. You know.
Yeah.
But to me, within the ashram, I've always believed that there are soul families that show up. You recognize each other. Oh yeah.
So what do you think of, there's this, have you heard of the book, The Celestine Prophecy?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you read it?
No.
And so in the Celestine Prophecy, it says in 10 insights, like step by step, how we can connect as humanity to a level to shift to have a global paradigm shift. So, and it's one of the insights there is that when we are able to connect really from heart to heart with a person, that's when the energy will flow, and that's when you look in their eyes. And again, advertisement coming.
Terrible, is it?
It's India.
It's India, yeah. And you haven't been here for the temple festivals. It'll be this loud from 4 in the morning till 11 at night.
Wow.
But they stay still. They string speakers down the road, and it's like it's sort of spiritual music. It's unbelievable. You go crazy. It goes for 10 days. Yeah. Many will leave for that 10-day period.
Yeah.
And another temple will come for 10 days, and another temple will come for 10 days. But
Yeah.
it's India.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot resist it. You just let it flow.
Yeah.
And talking about this flow, and in the Celestine Prophecy, they mention, when you do tantric exercise where you really look into each other's eyes and you kind of, you just like,
Oh, nice. Yes.
just like almost lose yourself. And I think often this connection, this really soul level connection, to really get deep with somebody, a lot of people get afraid of. They get scared. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
and then they look away because they get uncomfortable. A lot of emotions and feelings come up.
Right.
When if you connect, for example, if I connect to another woman, then it gets often interpreted, there's like an interest or something.
Yeah.
So it gets misinterpreted. And maybe this is also where men struggle as well, that when you really connect, there's suddenly this energy flow going. You're like, oh, what is this? I don't want to connect on this level with another man.
Yeah, because we've connected that connection with sexuality.
Yeah.
And it isn't. It just isn't. It is for some, perfectly reasonably, but in generally no.
Yeah.
And then we've drawn that line. Oh, you can have this much contact. It's okay. That contact is no. This is bad.
Yeah, because it gets intimate. It becomes very
Intimacy. That's it. We're afraid of intimacy with each other, with other men. And ultimately, then we're afraid of intimacy with our own selves. And that's actually the kind of the basis of the healing that men can do. We know each other. My body works the same way yours does.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's magic. I just would dare say that's exactly the difference between why the women can't necessarily heal the man's heartbreak. It's a different world.
Right.
Other men know that world, But boy, it's well said that intimacy, was that the word you were saying?
Yeah.
It happens, yeah. The fear of intimacy. It's deadly. It's so sad. It's just really sad. It really, really gets me to a great extent, There's so much. I would just like to just put my arm around someone and say, what's up? Whatever, Even with like the men's movement training is still a set situation, but it will happen. And what you were saying is the only real connection is the heart connection. That's exactly why I love Amma. Absolutely, because she is saying that is what actually makes the entire world exist. is that heart connection. We just have to see it. Wow. That's all she talks, really, is she calls it love.
Right.
But it could be called all kinds of things, you know. And again, even the L word we get a little scary about, you know.
Yeah.
When she says, "Do you love me?" Well, what? You know, I don't. Oh, that's tough. You know, like that. The L word. I like using the L word. Same with the G word for God. G word's of God. Okay, fine. What? Come on.
Yeah.
It's just like a wall to many people. You know, just from bad training.
Yeah. Or force.
Or what?
Force.
Force.
Because often when you're young, or that's how it was, at least for me in religion, like you have to be scared of God. God is like this. Everybody is a sinner, and you have to ask forgiveness. But God loves all His children. And there's this like, I don't know, this fear which is spread by God, and that if you don't believe, then you go into hell. If you believe, you go into heaven.
It's amazing. It's amazing what's happened, isn't it? It's absolutely danged amazing.
Yeah.
It simply takes us looking at it and recognizing, holy shit, look what happened.
Yeah. Instead of that, we are having the space to actually explore for us what is God for us. How do we feel God in each other? And it's what you said, that when we're able to express the God in us,
Yeah,
that's when we're also able to recognize the God in each other.
beautifully said.
The principle of bhakti yoga, for example, the
Yeah,
worshipping of each other
yeah, exactly.
and
Beautiful.
devotion. And that's what they have in India. They have devotion for the gods, and I hope in their relationships as well. But relationships is another topic
Yeah,
as well.
it's a good understanding. I think you've hit it pretty well, you know, in well, mother, I call her mother, Amma I'm talking about. Mother says that the creator and the creation are not two, they're one. She says, I have no God who sits up on a throne. All of you are my God. God is literally the creation. And so that the glory of God can be seen in anything. And obviously we start with each other because that's what we have, you know,
Yeah.
and that's all we have. I think in the standard, like a marriage kind of relationship, in the traditional way in India, it does work. But then again, we look at our culture, in the traditional way that's been lost, it does work. So we all had it. It wasn't like some have it and some don't. And mother always says she doesn't want her children to change their religion to be able to learn things from her. She says, just look into yours. At the basis, they're all going to be the same. At the very, very basis.
Yeah.
They all have that love. Find that in what you have. We took a birth for some reason, you know. Us as Europeans, I call myself European, excuse me. I'm in America. I was born in North America. But this thing, the DNA of this thing is European. I kind of like that view.
Yeah.
I used to think, well, I'm an American. Come on. Unless I'm Native American, I'm not an American. I'm a European who, in the mere blip of time, 200 years, ended up across the ocean. Big deal. We're all the same, you know, in that way. It was nice looking into your eyes during the interview also. It's good. The same thing we're seeing now, you know.
And be able to see and be seen. And I think this is one of the most important parts for healing. Like, I think you can only heal when you feel seen and you feel recognized, and that the way I am is good the way I am.
That's a good one. It's well said. You know, I think that could describe how I felt with you. It felt like you saw me, you know, and hopefully I saw you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just this open-heartedness and this trust. And I believe that the moment we can trust each other, that's when we also start to trust ourselves.
Correct. The whole thing is self-knowledge. Yeah, it's exactly it. Well said.
Yeah.
And that's what we get in India, in the culture, Sanatana Dharma, is to be able to trust yourself, find yourself, And that is what leads us to loving others. But it can all happen at the same time. It can grow it all at the same time.
Yeah.
If there's this beautiful setting that can do it, or a teacher that can do it. And it's been done in India, the only place in the world that has done from guru to guru to guru to guru to guru. There's always a living example of that divine consciousness. Transmits what that is. It isn't in a book.
No.
I would dare say that's what the early Christians were trying to do with the whole idea of a pope. They could find one among them who was living that. And they say, okay, well, I will listen to you. But where in India they say, okay, who's enlightened? This man. Will you teach us? Of course.
Right.
And it would change. Different, but there was always someone, always someone who lived the teachings. Whereas in the West, not necessarily. It could die out.
Do you know if is the movement from Robert Bly still going on, or what?
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
Robert Bly was a nice older man when I knew him, so he's long dead. But he wrote books, valuable, and then he carried it on. But for sure, the some of the basic men's movements, the one that I was part of that I liked best, as I explained, was called New Warriors, now called the Mankind Project. Even 20-something years ago, they renamed it. But yes, it continues on in his name, in his works, in that same way, which is why I like to parrot what they were, because they're valuable. They're eternal, of those different truths. But yeah, they're carried on. I think that's what you're asking. I've lost track of exactly what you were saying.
Exactly that.
But I dare say there's a whole new generation of folks like yourself who are empowered. You're coming to India. You're empowered to find yourself. You're empowered to be real. You're not working in a corporate office. That's really important. I'm just getting that and feeling that to be able to say, yeah, actually you are that generation. Exquisitely so. And you know how to use the technology so that you can also share. You will do far more than just a group of 5 men meeting once a week. But it took that from you. As a young man, you said, no, I'm going to go in this direction.
Well, funny enough, it really happens not because I wanted it that way, but because of my health. My health happening, it just like twisted my whole life around. Because before that, I really wanted to self-realize myself. And self-realization was for me to have the feeling that I'm successful. I'm successful in the art I am creating.
Oh, nice.
Or in the career which I'm pursuing. But I actually didn't understand at that time what self-realization actually means.
Right.
And the difference for me now is that self-realization means to be able to go through this whole library of all my emotions, not to get stuck in any of them, and feel something, come back to the center, feel something, and come back to the center.
Yeah.
And it really took me this like
beautiful
slap in the face, that really just woke me up and like, oh, okay, so this could have been the end.
Yeah.
What do you do now? So your life got extended. What do you want to do from now? And what I wanted was to feel life, to feel love, to feel connected to people. So life was like, oh, I'm going this way. Nope, you'll go this way.
Wow. Nicely said. Yeah. And many people have those same, major like near-death health things, and they don't get that either. Oh, the doctor gave me some pills. I'm okay now.
Yeah.
I don't want, So just even that's beautiful, to be able to do that. And also to know that self-realization would be part of the goal of anything you were doing. That obviously is self.
It didn't eliminate the question, but it rephrased it a little, like my whole situation.
For sure. Yeah, the whole thing is full of questions. It need to be rephrased. The other thought I had is you were explaining that about having an experience of bringing you back in and seeing. And then ultimately, not ultimately, but part of the route is also learning to let it go. That's also part of it. To forgive, to forget, to move forward. with that, and to move forward in love.
Yeah.
And to be able to look at what is this? What did I experience? What are the wounds? Where am I wounded? That way. And then learn to be able to heal the wounds. Again, back full circle.
Yeah.
I think men can help each other with their men's wounds.
Yeah.
And then men and women can help each other with their men and women wounds.
Yeah.
And the women can help the women with the women's wounds.
And if we really acknowledge and honor our differences, I think that will be a very, very important healing aspect.
That's it. And he meaning Bly again, because I learned so much of this stuff from him in these weekends. He was praising the concepts of the macho culture. That's kind of all we have left of it, are just those concepts, a culture which is called macho, where the men are in charge. But ultimately what that could be is that there's a respect done. That I've seen it in real life in Central America, in a so-called macho culture. But the men understood that the women were the women, and they gave the women the respect to have their own place. And the women felt comfortable with that. The women had a whole bond with each other. And they were the women. And they did the women's things. And the men were the men. They did the men's things.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's been corrupted. The men would seize power, which is what men like to do, And the women were, whatever, below that, whenever put in a position that way. And you see that in India. Yet, Mother teaches that actually in a very beautifully intact relationship, often, it sounds scary, the arranged marriage worked. They were completely committed to each other. And they learned how to do that. And they did it out of respect. Culturally, they were not worried about it. Here's an interesting thing I just learned just recently, that in those arranged marriages, often the men were older than the women. Sometimes the women were young teenage girls, but it was the best type, particular arrangement. It would not be sexual for many years. I was fascinated to learn that, because we always think, oh, the wedding night, then the bride is free game or whatever. No, highly respected. And at a certain point then they would begin to once they really knew and loved each other, then it was extended to that. And that's major.
Right, yeah.
Another phrase occurs to me that I like from along the way is that we assume that sex will lead to intimacy. Intimacy will lead to sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you mean with intimacy also an heart-to-heart connection? Is that
In the which?
what do you define as intimacy actually?
That's interesting. And the same way the intimacy we've been talking about, like between men and men or men and women, just that trust, that openness, the intimacy, the connection, the closeness.
Right.
Thinking that the sex will lead to closeness.
Yeah.
It can certainly be a part of it, but not necessarily. And that the really true relation, again, I'm exaggerating, but the lasting relationships have often been where the partners have known each other for a long time. And then they, quote, fall in love. Yeah. So the intimacy has then brought it up to that level. In the same way with those arranged marriages. They learn the intimacy first. And we really, truly do know. And again, that's harking back to something I was saying, that the present generation, the present young men, that's what I say, are completely devoid of that because of the internet.
Right.
Completely. And the internet teaches so many stupid lessons. Absolutely amazing, the stupidity of it. It's just absorbed in book, line, and sinker. And it's all economically oriented too.
I'm wondering if it's worse than the TV back in the days, as you were saying.
Worth it what?
If it's worse than the TV back in the days.
Yeah. It is. It's worse. I think it's far worse. Yeah. I was going to go into a thing of it, explaining that by talking to you. I was going to say, turn to the camera and say, well, I was telling him about this and that.
But I can?
Yeah. Pardon?
You can.
Yeah. Then I got mixed up with whether it's coming in or going.
Oh, freedom. You can also talk right in there.
Right into there. Okay, good. What I was saying to him was my own personal experience with the television. severe case, or at least a solid case of ADHD as a child, which is never diagnosed. Thank God I wasn't given speed or whatever. Actually, they didn't even know it then. They had no idea what was going on. They kept telling me, you're not living up to your potential. Well, what does that mean? But anyway, I was telling you that I never watched television. That reason, because the old-fashioned cathode ray tube was really disturbing.
Right. Yeah.
In theory, or by studies with boys with ADD. But I never liked it. I hated it. And a lot of it was a gender role. I hated it. Leave it to Beaver and said, I love Lucy. And so they were just so sick. You knew they were sick. It really bothered me. And Disney cartoons really disturbed me. I was not popular.
Yeah.
I didn't like ice cream. I didn't like Coca-Cola, and I didn't like Disney. Forget it.
You're a rebel.
Yeah, I was. But I didn't know I was. To me, I was a geek.
Yeah.
Oh, forget it, dude. I didn't know.
And how was it for you to tap into your sensitivity and vulnerability? Was there a part in your life in a certain age where you struggled to open up, and then you got some toxic traits
Yep.
or like closed off traits which you then projected on your partners? Or
You got it. Yeah. Meditation did it for me. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who then went on to become like Beatles famous and stuff. I met him way before that. He was just a wonderful Indian man teaching meditation in California. And I learned from him and I loved it. It was unbelievable. For the first time ever in my life, I could contact my inner self. It was totally revolutionary. I went on to spend some time in teacher training courses with him. And I feel like in that realm, I got my education. I was like 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, like that.
oh wow.
So that's what did it for me, was meditation directly. And interestingly enough, I didn't do the drugs much after that. But as a teenager, I did. They were really valuable to me because nothing was happening. There was no way to get through anything. And I had one loving friend who was able to mentor me. He was an older man, older than I, to mentor me through these drug trips. And I actually could feel and see that there was something more.
Right, so they were like tools for you.
Yes, exactly. And it wasn't recreational at all. We didn't like take acid and go to the rave. No. We would plan the entire thing. Okay, we're going to go in the woods in this way. I'm going to spend this much time in the woods.
Yeah.
One was always the guide, one that was heaven. It's really beautiful. So indeed that did that.
Yeah.
But then there were, they weren't the usual. I did go through some unusual conflicts in my life, But I'm just curious about, there's an entire realm then that I would bring to who we are as men, because I fucked an awful lot of them, in all honesty. So that's a whole other realm. Does that interest you within this?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All of it.
Okay.
This is an honesty show. This is about the truth.
Yeah.
It's about your experience, how it was for you to be a man,
Yeah.
and how it is, and where you're going with it. It's all of that. Because see, this is also, I think, very important part, that as men often we want to do it right. We want to do it perfect. We want to build, and almost like there's no margin for room. There's no room for mistakes almost.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I think, also very important to be like, okay, what actually happened,
Mm-hmm.
and what did you learn from it? Because that's for me one of the most important part. Not what is happening to me, but what do I learn from what is happening to me?
Nicely done. That I can share. That I'd be happy to do. It's good. Because already I have not come out of a whole lot of that. I may never. So that already that was coming in. To have to stop, go off camera and ask you, what about that? Because what's that showing to me is still a lot of my own weakness, without a doubt. I carry it all the time. And it is there. As I said, just in that, even is this okay? Duh, what the fuck? That's coming from me. That's coming from my background. Coming from my wound is what it is.
thank you for actually being able to tap in there and be like, oh, there is something, what can I? That's vulnerability. Is it okay to be vulnerable?
There you have it.
Please.
There you have it, to be vulnerable. You know. And when worded that way, I think actually, yes, indeed, I have a very amazing view, and I learned from it. And I think I got out of a lot of those roles. So, in answer to your question about my own journey, when did it seem to open up? I had a totally weird, unusual journey. Boy, oh boy, I mean, the family, we don't need to go into that necessarily. You know, the older brother who was quite crazy, schizophrenic, still alive, and the older sister, 6 years older than I, who kind of mentored me, without a doubt. The loving mother, the father, just beyond belief sex addict. He was always after some woman or other. And you knew it. You could feel as boy. You could feel as a child. All these things are known as children, without a doubt. So I kind of had that as a role model, and I didn't really like it at all. Right? And I never had much of a thought about sexuality. As nude, some fun. I'd figure out about the girls, you know, because I liked them. You know, who wouldn't? You know, because they're girls. They have this whole mysterious other thing, you know. And I just kind of assume, I don't know, that's going to happen to me because it was happening to my friends, for sure. You know, I'm 12, that's happening to them. I'm 13, it's not happening to me. I'm 13, it's not happening to me. 14, it's not happening to me. 14, I had probably about 10 seconds of guilt-free pleasure.
You kissed her?
The what?
You kissed her?
No. Even different. So the very first wet dream, like I'm 14 now, it's kind of pretty slow, you know.
Right.
And all of a sudden I went, holy shit, God, this thing works. My God, that's amazing. I have never felt anything like that in my entire life. Oh, other than it was sloppy, but I know, shit, what do I do with this? I don't think I thought about that at the moment. The first thought was, oh my God, this is amazing, it works. And then I realized that I had some intense erotic dream. It was my friend Christopher. It's who it was in the dream. I had no idea until that point.
Wow.
And we were getting it on. We were having an amazingly wonderful experience.
Right.
Whoa! But interestingly enough, in terms of spirituality, at that one moment I thought, oh, that's this lifetime. So no one had ever taught me about lifetimes. Certainly within our culture, we didn't know there were lifetimes or not, or they would choose them. I knew it. Oh, wow. That's going to be this lifetime. It's going to be a hard one, but I chose it. That's not going to go away. And there it is. So in some ways, the formula was right there for me to do. Took me 50 more years probably to do it. And just through hell. So it's interesting because I think we were talking so much about being men, and naturally whoever is in your audience is going to think, well, wait a minute, if this is what we might call a bisexual or a gay man, how is he going to teach us anything about being men? No, I can. Because I am a man.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I've always been a man. I've always felt like a man.
Uh-huh.
And that's very important to me in my growing up. You know, all those years. I wanted to learn about it. I wasn't just going to put up with it. And I never wanted to be like just some dumbass gay guy. I just didn't. And I didn't. I wasn't, you know. I kind of flunked it like faggot training. You know, I just, God, give me a break. I don't want to be like that, you know. So, sure enough, I leave home, I get to be myself. I get to be real. I get to be out. I get to be open with my friends. Well, yeah, actually, I kind of really, as far as I know, prefer boys. Being a boy myself. Fell in love with one wonderful Chinese man. It was heaven. It's amazing. And it's probably one of the closest relationships I've had. I never had like long, lovey, heavy relationships with other men. It was more bonding. It was like we were soldiers together. And we could also be completely honest in the whole sexual encounter. It was an honesty that can happen with men that you don't get with women because it's always in there like, am I pleasing her? Is it all right?
Right.
Wow, am I open? Is she open? Did I do it? With men, no. It has an amazing thing where, okay, what do you want? How can we do it?
Mm-hmm.
And we know each other. You can stop right in the middle. No, that's not working for me. What do you think? Can we change? You can't do that with women unless, I mean, sometimes they can. It's not cut and dry. But the honesty I really like, and in some ways what I've learned is that that was a connection. That was an intimacy. And the intimacy is what I was after. And the connection was what opened my heart. And that finally happened just through age and time. You know. And it's been a number of many years now where I've just naturally been celibate. I just leaned towards that. It's like, there were many occasions where I could have, I'm going to do this or that. Nah. And when I told Alma about it years ago, she said, don't be afraid. There's always will be a part of you, but don't be afraid. And that did it for me. So I wasn't afraid. Wow. Something I want to do. Is there a connection with this man, or am I, I'm afraid to do so? It will cloud the vision. Right, Once I wasn't afraid, it was pretty amazing. I kind of worked through it pretty fast. That the sexual aspect of it is addicting. In the same way, jerking off is addicting. You don't just do it once and say, "Oh, I didn't like that." It goes on for years because it's so easy, it's so simple. You get off. Same way with men. Similar kind of thing. It's easy. You can just get off, and you don't have to worry about you do it right or wrong or whatever, unless and obviously you can, again, that honesty that can take place here. So I kind of like explaining it that way because it's not what people usually think of, because the roles have been so defined by the media that they really get in the way. The women's roles, the men's roles, the men with men's roles. It's really silly. And I think I was safe because I rejected that early on. Saying, no, this is not going to work. So anyway, just to get to proof of the pudding is I'm 19 years old and I fall madly in love with this wonderful woman. My age. It was so much fun, but it's because I was open and I was out. That's why I started to tell you about that. And Chinese men, we're still the best of friends. And he was reminding me fairly recently that we actually only had slept together, he remembered, 5 times. That's all it took. You don't need to keep repeating that. You just set the bond. You set the intimacy. Can you trust me? Well, yeah. Take your clothes off. And it became that. And again, I kind of like to be able to explain to men especially that is what can happen too. Not that they need to have that, but they can also recognize that is something that can happen.
It's very interesting that you say that, because I've heard actually not long ago from a good friend of mine. She said, I asked her, did you ever had anything with another woman? And she's like, oh yeah, she's my best friend. And then we were in a relationship for a little bit, but she's my best friend again. Like, what?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
And like this concept for me, going through so many relationships in my life, of course, I'm still good friends with many of them, but it's not the same anymore. Because also the moment I stepped over to the phase of sleeping with somebody, it changed the friendship as well.
Right.
With women. I personally never had any experience with men. So, but it's fascinating to hear actually very similar from you as well as for my friend, and she was with her best friend, and you now with your best friend as well, who's a male.
At that time, without a doubt.
And that was okay for you guys to get close and then get out again and then have their own life?
Oh, we're good friends. We're forever friends. Always. But that was one of the tools that got us there. And then I actually moved on to when then I fell in love with Coco, that's her name. She was totally, the three of us were like the best friends. Wiley Wong and Coco and I, and that really opened me up too. It was just a beautiful thing, really nice. A study in New York City where they wanted to know, it started because this is maybe 15 years or so ago, I'm not sure how long, it wasn't like within the last few years, but this Columbia University, the grad students, they wanted to figure out why suddenly the HIV cases were rising, and so they tried to do this whole thing, work out like a study groups and control groups and things like that. And so what they did was they got a group of men that identified as being straight men, and they asked them about sex with other men. 0. No, never do that. So they take the control group and they mix up the questions, so they kind of stick these ones in there. And there's one was, have you ever had a sexual experience with another man, which included orgasm? 53%. When they knew it was totally anonymous, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I love that one. Now, a lot of those were just like the kids get drunk and jerk off with together. Mm-hmm. That would be considered a sexual experience with another man, which included orgasm. Oh, yeah. So, but the other problem there is that the guilt that was instilled in them because of that totally corrupted them.
Yeah.
You know, totally corrupted them. And I had a wonderful time in the New Warriors, because I also was known as, but I portrayed myself as, if you have questions about that, talk to me. I'll be with you. And there were a good dozen men, almost the same. I said, okay, listen, let me tell you about it. Jimmy and I, we used to get it on, you know, when we were like 15. And it was fun, but it was wonderful. What happened about that kind of thing?
Okay, now.
Exactly. And I would be able to yell, no! Because they thought there was this line, and they'd crossed the line, and they could never go back to it. That's the media.
Yeah.
How to doubt? That's just sick teaching.
Yes.
And just that openness. Actually, here's another one I can go into. This is fun to be able to just cut loose, be able to lay it all out here. Is that maybe 25 years ago, when I first came to India, tried out some of the Indians, which I didn't like, which I thought was blessed by. There was just something about it. No, it doesn't do it to me. But talking to other young Indians, teenagers, I was very open about being gay. This is in this area too. And they were perfectly comfortable with that, and they were interested in it too. You know, I know, when an American man, tell me about it. And on several different occasions, on different groups, they were completely guiltless and open about talking about their sexual experiences with each other. Like these two here. There were 3 or 4 of them, you know. And this one, you know, person A, kid A, you know, starts, yeah, well, I used to butt fuck you all the time, remember? Do you know? Yeah. And say, yeah. And first of all, I said, yeah. And they said, but I always had to pretend you were a girl, so it didn't work after a while. What? You could never do that. You can't say that in the locker room. Yeah. You'd be killed. Yeah. And that's what's sick. And these are the same ones that we were talking about earlier in the conversation. They're walking hand in hand. And there's plenty of evidence of it, that it goes on and there's no guilt and they move through it. There are no women around, which there aren't, you know. Well, hey, whose turn is it tonight to get me off? And it's that basic. It's pretty cool. She said, okay, great. You know that.
Sounds like a lot of liberty, a lot of freedom.
Yeah. And no guilt. No Christian guilt.
Yeah.
No Christian guilt.
I think that's where it all starts.
It did.
And also ends, like when this guilt keeps eating you up because you have some unexpressed emotions and you would love to bring it out, and you feel less of a man because you cannot express it. These emotions get stuck. These stuck emotions like depression, anxiety, and all the other mental health problem actually starts to occur.
Yeah, and that's where that difficulty comes in. There's a whole fear of like, gay or not. I don't want to be gay.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's no line. There's no fucking line.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, in following through on that, trying to figure out about the 53%, so roughly, let's call it 50-50. 3 doesn't matter. The other 50%, it never crossed their mind. It never occurred to them. They wouldn't even, hopefully in an okay way.
Yeah.
You know, and not uptight. And it obviously is, you might imagine, that the 50 who had and were guilt-stricken, I'm making a generality about them being the guilt-stricken, among those were the mean homophobes who would beat up gay men. It's kind of a cliche, but I think it has some very real basis in there.
Yeah.
You know, that the homophobia is their fear of themselves.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be afraid of. If you just feel it, love it, do it. I mean, not do it, but necessarily, but accept it.
I mean, look at nature. I saw not long ago these gay dogs running behind each other and fucking themselves,
Yes.
and it was so beautiful. And then hearing from, I mean, not anymore so much, but I remember back in the days, like, this is unnatural in nature. There's only a man and a woman, or male and female. And here you see these gay dogs really just having so much fun and just digging holes for each other and just running around, having a good time. Like, if that's not natural, I don't know what else is.
Yeah. And what else is nature? Yeah. There's a great book, new one, called Exuberant Biology, where they looked at all of the gay activity among the animals. It's insane. It's incredible. There was one island, it still is called Monkey Island, somewhere in the Caribbean, because the monkeys were put on there whatever decades ago, so scientists could study them. It's kind of neat. So they've always kept an eye on. Now they probably have the hidden cameras, but the male monkeys had far more sex with each other than they did with the females, just quite naturally. I went to the LA Zoo once with my nephew and his children. In the monkey cage, like, you go in and there's a big net, and then the kind of platform we were watching, and there were two monkeys, two males, one giving the other the blowjob. Right? Why? It was obvious what was going on. So all that stuff is documented. The most amazing one was the photograph of the two male whales. So on the top of a whale is what's called the blowhole. And one of them is putting his penis in the blowhole. Really? Yeah. It's totally amazing, With the pun and everything. The blowhole on the thing. Dude.
They filmed whales doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you can't see a whale smile, but it's obviously they were enjoying it. They wouldn't be doing it. I mean, it took quite a bit of thing. You got to get lined up, and you got to get it.
How did they do that?
What? And then the same with the oral sex for the monkeys.
Yeah.
A lot of that happens. And interestingly enough, the monkeys also have. This is cool though to understand. They have it's literally called a pecking order, not a pecker order, but a pecking order. Like the top monkey fucks the next one down. He fucks the next one down. He fucks the next one down. And it's kind of reasonable among men that you would do it that way. Used to be. Now we're really getting in there. So I read a wonderful book once called Hidden from History, called The Gay and Lesbian Past. And it's phenomenal. Because one man did an entire thesis, actually, and turned into the book, on what's hidden from history. One of the more fascinating ones was the Japanese. So the Japanese kept the Christians out till the 1600s because they saw what happened to the rest of Asia. They said, "Oh, fuck you, Whitey." And they'd kill them when they came. Those missionaries, when they landed ashore, they were killed. There's several famous Spanish martyrs or whatever. And when Gutenberg invented the printing press, everyone liked it, so they standardized Japanese so it could be printed. And the first bestseller in Japan was called The Great Mirror of Male Love. There's 12 stories of the Kabuki boys and their lovers, and 12 stories of the samurai warriors and how they were always paired up. And the lovers is still a bestseller in Japan. Called The Great Book of Male Love, or The Great Mirror of Male Love. I think that's what that is. And it was completely acceptable. It wasn't even off. Wasn't like hidden or anything else like that. The Greeks had no word for it. There was no word for gay or homosexual. The term did not exist. So you get this book in Japan. Again, that's lasting evidence. That's why it's valuable. It's kind of hearsay about. They know about Greek, no word, but the book is amazing. So the Kabuki theater, which everyone liked, forbid women to be actors or actresses in the Kabuki plays. So they always had to get boys, usually prepubescent boys, or just boys that didn't shave, is what they said. And they would play the women. They'd dress up all as women. So the samurai men loved them. And during the Edo period, the main, the shogun or whatever, at one point in his city banned the kabuki theaters because the samurai were killing each other to get the boy, to get the kabuki boy. And this was just like what happened. So the other one is the samurai in the training schools. They're teenagers when they get there, and they have an entire realm of courtship where they'll pair up. One older samurai warrior as the mentor for the young one, and often it included sex. And also was able to deal with the fact that the young boys, there are no women around, but they always want to fuck. They figured it out pretty soon, and there'd be a bonding that would take place, and that's what was honored. And the exchange was very serious. It was very real. You didn't do it casually. It was a one-on-one basis. It didn't have to be sexual, that often was, because it's a really nice way of bonding if it's done naturally and there's no guilt involved, and it doesn't have to stay that way. It never would. And I just read recently that when a boy could grow a full beard, he didn't have to be the boy, to the older guy, and he could become the older guy.
Right.
And as he got older, he could have the boy.
And
they liked that. They did that. That's obviously the way Greeks worked. But the other take is, there's no way in this day and age that we can really understand those things. Our mind, our psyche, our subconscious has been so corrupted about it. It's very difficult to really wrap our minds around that or liberate our minds from that. We just kind of have to limp along and do the best we can with it and try and break down those barriers the best we can. And in my case, ultimately, all I'm interested in is that the men love each other. They don't have to fuck each other. They really don't. If they want to, that's okay too. But that's not what I'm saying, It's very important for you to get that, And it took my own kind of liberation from that to be able to say that. The guys, just go easy, whatever,
I do believe as well that the moment when humans are not afraid of the sexual energy in general, like the moment we understand what that Kundalini energy actually is, the life force through all of us, that's when we can understand what is happening in the world. The moment sex is not a taboo anymore, because love is the greatest energy there will ever be, the energy of the creator, if not even the creator themselves.
Yes.
It's love. We are created through love, and the sexual energy is that creator energy. So we try to maintain it, we try to suppress it, we try to control it. Who are we humans to control God?
Yeah.
God wants to express themselves. And who are we humans to be like, no, we are much better than that. It's the God complex, right?
Yeah.
They say that God created himself or themselves in the image of humans. And I think that humans created God in the image of themselves.
Correct, yeah.
And I think that's the confusion sometimes. We think God is this human form who will punish or who controls. But any control is out of fear.
Right.
And the moment we want to control something, that's when we restrict ourselves in it.
Yeah, nicely said. Very much. I get that from the ancient teachings of India, is that, again, if the creator and the creator are not two, but one, it permeates all. But Mother teaches us quite clearly, and again, Mother teaches us, it's all old scripture is what it is. It's the ancient truths. What she's saying is that it's perfectly natural for man to project his or her image onto God. And it's actually important because it's impossible to maintain in the early stages this concept of the whole big, huge, broad picture, the substratum of the universe. It's that love, that's God, that manifested everything. It's very, very difficult. Very few can do that. But to be able to project it onto a shape, onto the Krishna or the Shiva or the Divine Mother, the Lakshmi, it's important. is necessary to do. But ultimately, you know that that's just your own, that's just a shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the stone idol in the temple, it's okay to worship as long as you know that's what that is. And you can use that. But you will always move beyond that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful what you said, to be able to just move beyond the guilt about the sexual energy and to see it what it is. That's beautiful. Yeah. But I think that's why I like speaking as a man about that particular aspect of it, because it's entirely misunderstood. You know? I mean, the men and the men together is what I'm saying. And it ain't like the internet at all. At all.
Yeah.
In that same conversation I was telling you about with my straight friends, you know, I said, see, wait, I have never ever acted or felt like any of those movies I've seen,
Yeah.
you know.
And I mean, if you think about like where a lot of anger, for example, towards women comes from men especially, it's because they have never learned how to process these emotions properly. There's a lot of guilt, shame, self-hatred for that. I have done that. I shouldn't have done that. And why is this? And like you eat up yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see people like you walk past them and they're just so in their head eating up themselves with
Yes.
their own stories, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just give them a smile. They're like, something. The lights like, their face just like lighting up, like getting life back again. This is like, and so many people really just they're in their head and they're not able to release that. And I think this is how we can heal as a society, to talk about these things which we think is actually taboo. We never talk about these things. Why not?
Correct. That's exactly it. Yeah, they can be talked about.
Yeah, and then there's no need to hate each other or hate yourself for that, because exactly what you were saying, like that. No, many men, like most of men I've talked about, like, have you ever had any sexual experience? Actually, when you said that, and then I thought, like, no, I did have a sexual experience, but I didn't consider it as sex because I was a young boy and we were just jerking off each other. We were just exploring, like, oh, how does it feel to do this on me, or how does it feel to do this on you?
There you go.
And I remember I felt so guilty about that. It was eating
You
me
did?
up. Yes. I was like, am I gay? And then
Yes.
it was really, really bad, and I couldn't talk to anybody. And actually, only when I became adult, and then at some point, I remember my friend I had, who I was living with together, and I was talking about that. And he's like, yeah, we did the same. We were jerking off each other playing that. It's like a joystick.
Yeah.
So that happens. And it took many years for me to be able to actually open up about that. Only after I started to implement my own femininity, and like, oh no, I was a boy. I was exploring my sexuality. But coming from a Russian background was like, no, you're gay. This is like the worst sin ever that you can imagine. Men are with women. Period.
And that is so fucked up, isn't it? Absolutely fucked up.
Yeah.
It fucks up so many.
It fucks your brain so much. And so I tried to be this masculine figure, like who our other men will be proud of.
And even to the, you know, and then it gets more grown up and you and your friend. You know,
No.
whatever. And that's the way it should be. And if with no guilt, it doesn't have any natural guilt.
Yeah.
And I have to point out, earlier in the conversation, you said, well, you've never had sexual experiences with men. You have.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't connect it this way because, yeah.
And on a really funky level, I really think it makes you better lovers of women.
Yeah.
If you felt one, they feel totally different in your own hand than your own in your own hand.
Yeah.
It's completely different. That's what she feels all the time. It's different. You got yours in your hand and you know what it feels like, you know.
Yeah.
You got someone else's in your hand, and you know, and that's what she's doing the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it's fascinating. And even to the extreme, not see, already I have it tied as an extreme. Shouldn't necessarily be, you know, but it is extreme physiologically. It is butt fucking. It was never seen as extreme physiologically, like in Greece or the samurais or whatever else. This is what you did. It's what they did with the kabuki boys. They just fucked them. It's quite simple. Anyway, the real extreme, I think, is very true. Even once, to have a dick up your butt, you realize you have to relax, you have to love it, you have to let go, you have to open up, you have to be soft. And that's what she needs. That's exactly what she needs. And all of a sudden you get it. I mean, I'm kind of speaking in generalities, but it's, I think, quite true. You know, it just, oh, that's so.
So it's different way how to find the soft spot within you.
That's exactly it.
Many roads lead to Rome.
Yeah.
I say.
And discovering that does not look like what you see on the internet as porn. No. It's very natural, slow, person to person, this guy to guy. What's up? How do we do this? Is that good? No, we got to. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. That works. That's cool. And you get even the physiology of that males can do both, and you get that prostate gland right in there, and sure as shit, that gets massaged, you know, and you get this whole other realm going on. I think the taboos are so intense that's not necessarily what I recommend anybody to do. Go get butt fucked and you'll be better with women. So, you know, I mean, it's a little intense.
Yeah.
But in reality, well, not reality, but I think there's quite a basic truth to it. You know, whatever, it takes knowing how to do it. You know, and indeed, people would know how to do it. Well, like the teenage Indian boys I was telling you about. They're just saying, well, yeah, I used to butt fuck him all the time, and he would do something to me, but we had to pretend that we're women. There was no big taboo about that, and they knew how to do it. That's what I wanted to make. There wasn't anything weird about it. You know? Yeah, just do it. You can do it then. So men are made for that anyway. So, but again, not necessarily have to. I have to tread a very fine line because I think the information and the knowledge that we're talking about is really valuable. And I'm very conscious if I sound like I'm pushing the gay edge too much, it gets shut down. You know, I've had plenty of women. I've been married twice. I love them. So in some ways, that's where I'm speaking from. I'm not strictly gay. I didn't want to be, quote, gay at all.
No, you didn't want any labels.
I didn't want the labels, yeah.
This is this and this is that. And
yeah. I've used them sometimes for shock value. And I use them for some ways of getting out of the shame. Now, mind you, I'm sounding like I was cool all along with it. No, I was shamed all the shit.
Right.
So it was a long, long journey.
So what changed in that time?
Time, just time. So if I could heal myself as a man just by getting older, that's exactly what happens to all men. And that change, that healing that takes place in them, they have a responsibility for, they're charged with, not charged with, responsibility doesn't work either. They have that like capacity and that need to be able to reach out to the younger ones and pass that on. Once you recognize, oh, something different is here because I'm older.
Right.
Absolutely amazing. You know, there really is something that you do gain just by enough, or having your heart broken enough times. You know, takes that man whose heart has been broken to help the guy. I know where you've been. Like the next girlfriend isn't going to be able to tell him that.
Yeah.
Just the guy, or his friend, his good friend, you know, that they've shared everything with, you know, and they can heal each other and help each other. So that's a lot of what that is. Is what I guess I'm conscious of my agenda. You know, like I have to be not politically correct, but you know, I'm not ordinary, but there is no ordinary, maybe.
And I think this is the whole point here.
Yeah.
That this life is what you want it to be. This life is to be experienced in its fullest. Whatever comes your way, so the least we resist, the more life can flow through us, the more the universe can express itself through us.
Beautifully said. Yeah, that's ultimately why we're doing all this. Why not? Alma said once, you can't give up something that you don't know.
Yeah.
You have to know what it is you're giving up, and then you can give it up easy. But you need to know what it is in that way. So that's what we're talking about, really. You know, just to be able to know ourselves, which is the ultimate journey, and know each other as men. As men, know each other as men. We're beautiful
In this life, at
creatures.
least. In this life, at least.
In this life, yeah. Next life, who knows? Other previous lives, who knows?
Yeah.
I think we've all been either. So also, Amos says that quite specifically. We've all been each other's lovers, or murderers, or caretakers, or wives, or children, or uncles, or whatever. And there's so many. You just probably would get in the way. These are her words now. Her words were just, yes, we've all been so many people to each other that. But what I was going to say is, I think that's why we don't remember them. They just get in the way. Some I've remembered that were too much. My friend Wiley Wong, the lover when I was 18, I went to art school. He was there the first day. He was like one of the, I think he was a grad student teacher, you know. But I looked at him and I saw the pictures of our life together in China as artists. And he did the same to me. So it was clear we were remembering something that had happened before. I think that happens a lot. The same way, you know that there's that times that when you meet that girl, you see that girl, and there's something. You don't know what it is. If you can learn after a while, to me, that it was other lives or whatever it could go. But just sheer age, sheer time experience gives the elder the ability to elder. And he needs to take it up.
Yeah. And the thing is, if we really trust our heart, if we really trust love, there's no mistakes. Because the heart really will guide you always the most pure and loving way. The
Yes.
heart will lead you on the way
Yeah.
of compassion, of least resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
If you follow it.
Yeah,
But of course there will be resistance, of course. But
Of course. And that's the whole spiritual path. What's the resistance? What's the thing? How can I let that go? How do I do that? How do I forgive? How do I move forward? That's knowing yourself.
yeah.
It's part of it.
yeah.
If the whole journey is seen as the spiritual path.
Yeah. Getting angry at somebody, but then realizing, oh, I've done the same myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not better than him
Yeah.
or her.
Yeah.
You get compassion, you feel love again. Because
Right.
it could be you.
Right on.
And as a matter of fact, it is probably you.
Yeah.
Because we are one, just
Yeah.
in separate incarnations. But I think for the mind, it's just very hard to comprehend. Like, what,
There you go.
we are one.
There.
You have the same emotions I have. You have the whole library of it. Just
Yeah.
in different quantities, just a different
Very-
formula.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have the same cells, but just different receptors
Beautiful.
on top of the cells. So
Dif-
the only thing what makes a difference is just how we receive things, how we receive and perceive reality.
Beautifully said. It's almost word for word reiteration of what Mother teaches us with the scriptures. That they're like, they just say just that. You know, we're all the same, but we have different combinations. And they name it particularly as gunas. The three gunas that come in different people in different combinations and they lead off different things, you know. So there's kind of a science to that. That indeed is exactly what it is. Just all that, how we're different. You know. Beautifully done. Really, it's nice because I feel our heart has been open just in talking. And I like that in such a real way, and that's really valuable to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So do you have any last words before we wrap this up for the younger generation?
Fuck you. You little pipsqueak.
Yeah. Fuck you, I love you.
Yeah, have your big corporate business. See if I care. Oh God. Recognize how I think. The only one thing of advice I've thought of recently I would give flat out to the so-called younger generation is that media is fucking you up. That the media becomes the message and you're living on your phones and it really is making a difference. It's truly making a difference that you're not intimate. I mean, the obvious example I just saw in London, my daughter pointed out, we go to the really nice restaurant, there the family is sitting, each of them has a phone and they're all looking at the phone. I'm just using that as one, kind of a symbolic event thing like that. It really is quite dangerous. And it takes quite a bit to be able to remove from that.
Right.
Now, what those dangers are a plethora of them. So I don't need to illuminate them. We've touched on some on the pornography, which is quite deadly. It's like cocaine or crack cocaine. But just in general, how much we're being manipulated by this media, and to understand that. And that's, to me, one of the basic points to overcome to begin to be able to blossom.
Right.
Is to do that. Obviously, the media is wonderful. These dances outdoors, like where they all wear the earphones, they're all listening to the same music, but nobody hears the music
Silent
outside.
disco. Yeah.
Heaven, I love it. It's just amazing stuff.
We had some of these parties as well.
Yeah. Now those ones I saw, they were men more dancing with each other. That would happen in these places in India, to those kind of trance dance things,
Right, right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you see, I was at Holi in Hampi, they were only men.
really,
Like, they were going crazy, but it was also very, like, a violent expression of their happiness. And, I mean, there were women around, but not many in the middle, because I think it just gets too intense. And there's one woman, there's a lot of grabbing involved.
for sure. But the thing is, I've experienced that very same kind of thing some in India too, where there's an ecstatic kind of, we're men that just, we're on and they can dance together even,
Yeah.
reflecting off of each other as men.
Yeah.
That's what would go on in the gymnasium.
Ah.
The men were all naked,
Yeah,
always
yeah.
naked.
Huh.
And they would admire each other. They would do the sports with each other. But they had their whole bodies and they would admire their bodies, looking good, John, say, oh, God, that's a cool schlong you've got. You look, it's grown a lot since you were 12. That kind of thing would be said perfectly reasonably, There's one wonderful quote from Plato. There's some that were written down, and he's talking about one of the most famous, handsome young men in the area, in Athens. And he says, Alcibiades, because he was named, he said, Alcibiades is one of the most wonderful, knowledgeable young men. But when you see him naked, you forget that he's knowledgeable. I mean, this is Plato talking in the father of philosophy. So it was that natural. But so things like that will regain it, there they all were. And no women were ever allowed in the gymnasium. And interestingly enough, no women were ever allowed at the Olympics. The Olympics were all naked and the audience was naked.
Really?
Yeah, because women were sneaking in to see their son do the Olympics. And so they just banned it completely. The only way they could do that was everyone was naked. All the fat old men, the skinny old men, whatever. Everybody was naked.
Didn't know about that.
Yes, hidden from history. There's a lot of it we don't hear about. There's another one. I'm back on my soapbox here, but it ain't a soapbox. They just recently, the archaeologists have rediscovered the grave of what was called the sacred band of Thebes. So there was Athens, Thebes, and Spartus. And the Spartans were very super militaristic, and the Athenians were super cool lovers and thinkers. And Thebes was kind of halfway in between. So Thebes was undefeated because for a few hundred years, they carefully nurtured what they called the sacred band. It was 300 men, and it was 150 couples, an older man and a younger man, a warrior, and they'd be matched up very perfectly. When they shifted or there was an opening, then they would essentially interview candidates to be part of them. And they were undefeatable because they would fight back to back. They would protect each other mercilessly. And there was thoroughly known, respected. That was like the ultimate. They were like the Green Berets. They were the super foreign legion. Everyone knew the sacred band from Thebes couldn't be conquered. At one point they were defeated. And whoever had conquered them buried them in a circle, arm in arm. All 300 of them.
Wow.
And then that's what the archaeologists had just discovered. That here was this group. So how natural that was is almost impossible for us to regain. It just blows our mind. And what the hell? What was that? Because our view of what the sexuality was is so narrow. It's almost impossible, if not impossible, to be able to open back up to what that was.
That's hopefully where we're going.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. That it will all be that way, naturally, and it will all be assumed. Pretty cool. Really amazing. I've loved talking about this in such an open way with you. I've learned a lot myself just by laying it all out. Just see, oh yeah, I made this connection from this to that to this to that. And they could go on and on and on and on and on. But
Next time again.
next time again. Here, give me your hands, pal.
How about we chant some ohms to release this off? Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurugyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you for your beautiful wisdom.
Same. What a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah. And the wish and the prayer is that because of your skills, techno, it goes somewhere. I always have to wonder there. Think that, well, more than just talking to you or you talking to me, it can go somewhere. It's beautiful inspiration. That's a skill that you're doing with what you have. Hey, how about this? One of the things that I'm so proud of as an older guy that I finally snapped to learn is when something feels good, you say it. Like that. That's not an idle compliment. It was just saying what was obvious to me. What would be obvious to most people, but they wouldn't say it.
It's a very good message to give it to the next generation, actually.
Yeah, if it feels good, say it. If it doesn't, don't.
Yeah.
But just like that, say, you've got this skill here. Or even instantaneously, hey, I like the way you just did that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. People
acknowledgement of appreciation as well.
There you go. And that's the kind of thing that as men needs to be developed and has been shut down within us. I think it is.
Yeah. So it brings more into collaboration.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. We can turn the fan on. No, we can turn the fan on.